What's the greatest virtue? I think that's a good way to end it, huh? As I've gotten older, I think self-integrity is probably the greatest virtue. We live in a society, collectively in the developed world at the very least, where you are allowed to accumulate enormous amounts of self-fictions, small or large. And when people accumulate too many of them, you see these people like Jeremy DeWitt or others, and you say, wow, that guy's really fucked up. Well, the problem is that most of us are closer to that than we'd like to believe in small little instances, and they accumulate. And what these things do, these misintegrities, is they hold you back from getting to your greater self as a human being. And so the reason why psychedelics have become such a prominent area of study, if you read Michael Pollan's book, is not because they take you to some astral projection and you get to meet DMT aliens and go on crazy adventures or things like that. It has nothing to do with any of that. Psychedelics are not so useful to teenagers for the most part. They're club drugs when they're used there. But yet they're tremendously useful for people in their 50s and 60s or people who have post-traumatic distress disorder or depression or other conditions. Why? Because you have this default mode complex and you have these misintegrities, these self-fictions, these issues, these accumulations of stories. And then you go and take this substance, and what it does is it removes the sense of self. And you extract your consciousness from who you are, and you stand and observe yourself as others see you for the first time ever. There's ego destruction there. And then suddenly you say, holy shit. Oh no. No. That's no good. We got to make some changes. We got to do some house cleaning. Now, being a public figure, I get that for free for the most part. Every comment, tweet, Reddit post, 4chan post, there's a kernel, there's a little bit of truth there. Not a lot, but there's something. And if you're really clever, you know how to filter these things in a way to improve yourself. If you're not so clever, you let it bother you, eat away at you, and really crush you. Jordan Peterson, for example, is a self-help guru, brilliant psychologist, goes on these long, circuitous stories. Maps and Meaning is one of the hardest books I ever read in my life. After he got big, I said, oh, I'll take a look at it. And whoa, this is big. But then he ended up becoming a drug addict. Why? Because he wasn't able to get the benefit, but filter out the toxicity of notoriety and publicity and fame. So those things plus personal issues in his life combined together, and they created a state of affairs where he had to use substances to try to bridge the gap and deal with the pain. I could go on a diet. I could lose weight. I have been. I've actually been working out every day. Not a super hardcore, only twice a week for the hard stuff. And then I get on a treadmill. I already lost 5 pounds. I put that off for too long. I used the excuse of the fact that I'm successful and powerful to justify not taking care of my health. But all I'm doing is I'm hurting myself. There's no integrity in that lifestyle. And, 4chan says, look at this fat soy boy and these other things. I can get angry about it, or I can accept that there is a point that a person in my position with my responsibilities and obligations, that kind of a person needs to be better. I need to get up earlier. I need to get up at 5 a.m. I need to find the time to be healthy. I need to eat right. If anything, because I inspire others to do so. And a person in my position should do that every day. That's what leadership is all about. So that the integrity component, I think, is the single most important component in all the things you do, all the business dealings you do, all the interactions you do. Even if you don't have positive or good interactions, finding a way to dig through it and find at least something there that you can latch onto and say, we tried our best to have a good outcome. There you go. And then when you start thinking this way, you start losing a lot of negative things, a lot of vices, hate, for example, anger, vengeance, resentment, envy. Those vices they just fade away. They melt away. Like Ethereum, for example. I do have objectively legitimate grievances when you look at what's happened and what's been said, and just the craziness behind some of the things that continues to be recycled again and again and again, and the noise and the garbage and so forth. And I could just spend the rest of my life angry about that. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, you say to yourself, well, their existence does a lot of good for the world. There's a lot of good research. They've decentralized a lot of things. There's a lot of beta testing that they're doing. And, every now and then there might be an area of collaboration that makes sense. Might be narrow, might be broad, might take 10 years, might take 15 years. Why hate those people? If they want to live in a weird world where they entertain fictions and they hate a person who doesn't exist, that's their disadvantage. I'm going to live in a world of integrity. I'm going to live in a world where we actually can see through the smoke and mirrors and we can actually see each other as human beings. Get to that point, and then suddenly you don't have a lot of problems anymore. And you can really focus in on the things that matter. You can really think long term. You can really think about where would you like to be in 10 years? People always overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Why? Because humans are really bad at exponential growth. And, if you get 1% per month, you don't really think it's too big, but actually it's huge over a period of 10 years, the returns that you can get there. You don't see it, though, in the short term. So having that virtue of self-awareness and self-integrity and being able to perceive yourself objectively, good, bad, and ugly, and be intellectually honest about who you are and what you can and can't do and how quickly you can move, and being able then to put yourself on a path, not where you do the great things. That's what we all aspire to do. To put yourself on a path where you do the simple things, the small things that are easy to do, but are also easy to not do. That is what makes greatness. If you look at any of these people that are great people that objectively have done great things or have been able to push themselves to the boundaries of human limits, all those people had that mindset. A little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit harder. And they didn't let the failures bother them, because it's only a problem if you're out of the game forever. If you can play tomorrow and get back into the game, try a little bit harder, push a little bit harder, then you're still there. You're still relevant. You're still breathing. You give up when you're dead. We've lost a little bit of that in society. Social media has constructed a world where we have become obsessed with the outcome, the end goal. It's hard. I mean, you want to learn how to play the piano. Go and start playing the piano. Oh, you feel like you're pretty good. And then you go to YouTube and you see some 7-year-old who's a concert pianist. You want to get in shape and lose some weight. You start losing a few pounds. You feel good. And you go to Instagram and you see the models. You're like, anything you want to do, there is some outcome, some end goal that person is elite and amazing and incredible. And if you live in a reference where that's what you want, you'll never get what you want, because what you're seeing is a snapshot of a deeper truth and story. And those people in their own way had to follow a path quite similar to the one that you happen to be doing yourself. And having the integrity to admit that and saying it's okay, keep that as a North Star, but put in the work every little day is such a powerful thing. And there's a lot of tools that can help people get there. And psychedelics happen to be one for the old, but there's all kinds of tools like flow research and these types of things. Stephen Kotlin is a big researcher there. There's Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, dozens of these human performance psychologists that think about this mindset, but it all always stems from the same common source, which is the integrity to understand reality as it is, not as how you'd like it to be, the ability to admit that, and then work a little harder every single day. And then once you're in that mindset, the vices melt away. And even if they don't, you have a mechanism upon which to conquer them. And having said that, it is now time to end the AMA. And for those of you who are frequent guests of our AMA, you'll know how we do that. We do that on Kiva. So, kiva.org. And by the way, when I go to Africa on the Africa tour, I'm going to be going to Kenya. It's one of the many nations. And there's a partner we have there that does microfinance. We're starting $150,000 pilot with that partner. And we will be with that partner doing a microfinance blockchain pilot next year. So Kiva, as I mentioned, is just a proof of concept, a stepping stone to talk about microfinance. But I'm very excited to actually begin doing that right out of Daedalus, right out of your wallet. Okay, so let's go here. Let's look at lend and let's find a borrower. And given that we are going to Africa soon, let's go to Africa. And given that we're going to Kenya soon, and there's a lot of great microfinance in Kenya, let's pick somebody. All right. How about Mercy? All right, Mercy. She's looking for a loan of $650 to help a single mom to purchase farm inputs such as fertilizer and seeds to help improve her farm. So she's 32 years old. She's a rural smallholder farmer from the Sionjiro area of Kenya. Butchered that pronunciation, didn't I? Her family's main income source is milk from their dairy farm. However, they're also involved in other agricultural activities such as growing maize and beans. The biggest problem that farmers in this region face is the huge deficit in terms of access to agricultural inputs, meaning that the farmers' yields and incomes are far below what they could be. Kalimo has partnered with Kiva to provide financial services to smallholders around Kenya. Through these financial services, farmers from the region, like Mercy, can now buy productive assets and important agricultural inputs for use on their farms. Mercy is seeking a loan to buy the farm inputs such as seeds, fertilizer, herbicides, and pesticides. Your loan will enable her to improve her production use through the use of quality farm inputs. This intervention will help her fill the increasing demand for food in the market and in the process generate more income to repay the loan debt, improve the quality of life for her family. She also hopes to improve the condition of her house. Please help this mother to accomplish all her dreams with just a loan. All right. Well, let's help her out. And let's give her the full amount. And now there's a problem adding. Oh, I got to sign in. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Okay, make sure that's there. Take off my glasses. What I need to do is sign in. Loading. Continue to check out. $550. There we go. Can't wait to do this with Cardano. It's going to be great, guys. Okay. Boom. All right. Let's share screen again. Everything looks good there. Share screen. So we had a bit of mercy for Mercy. Go to my portfolio. Let's take a look how it's doing. So far, almost 6,000 in loans. We have Afaf from Palestine, Albania, El Salvador, Senegal, Togo, Philippines, Haiti, Cambodia, Mexico, Peru, and Kenya. And now we have Mercy there. And we paid out her entire loan. So it's $550. I cannot wait to see you guys do this. I can't wait to see microfinance happen. It's a big passion of mine, and it's one of the reasons why I got involved in the space. Did a TEDx talk in Bermuda back in 2014. And that was one of the principal things I talked about, the 35 to 85% interest rates for microfinance. And it's just amazing that we are literally this close to actually doing this now with a stable coin, a blockchain derived reputation metric, and peer-to-peer lending. This close. I'm going to go to Kenya here in October, and I'm going to see Possession and the rest of the guys, and we're going to design the whole thing. And first quarter, second quarter of next year, we'll get that done. That's a life's work. People often ask, like, what are the moments that define you and make you excited? And that's sure as hell one of them. It's what I've been looking forward to for almost a decade now. Okay. Well, this has been a lot of fun, everybody. Thank you so much. Until next time, I've enjoyed your questions. This one was a little bit more philosophical. And September 12th, we're going to have Gogan. Long time coming.